Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. We're going to talk about the cover-up of emails, the hiding of communications between ministers, between officials, and all within the SNP. It goes to the very heart of their secrecy and sleekness once again. Seems to be part of their DNA. Their very soul is to keep things covered up and hidden, doesn't it? But this isn't about the COVID pandemic. This is about an entirely different matter altogether. But it just goes to show that they can't help themselves when it comes to covering things up. Now, before we get into it, I will ask if you do like the video, do hit that thumbs up and definitely hit the subscribe button if you're yet to subscribe. It absolutely massively helps the channel, helps us grow. And also because we're a political channel as well, YouTube don't like us. And they sometimes, as they have done recently, unsubscribe people without consent. So double check you're still subscribed. Now, I hear you saying, what is this? A whole new cover-up of emails and communications and things. What can you possibly be talking about? Well, we're talking about Derek Mackay. For those who aren't aware, Derek Mackay was the finance minister back in 2020. And Derek Mackay had a little predilection for other people's children. And he liked to send sexually suggestive and adult-themed texts to, say 16-year-old boys that weren't his own. They were other people's 16-year-old boys. And so he did this inappropriate communication. As a man of authority, inappropriately communicating with an under 18-year-old. And of course, he had to resign. And that, of course, is where we had the sort of the meteoric rise, I suppose, of Kate Forbes. She was like, she rose without a trace, as it were. And she was thrust in with hours' notice to go and deliver the budget that year. But Derek Mackay, of course, he had to resign. He had to go. And although technically not breaking the law, he did break all kinds of decency, of ethics, of morals, and was seen as really just a sleazy, slimy piece of human trash. But people have asked, who knew what? What was said, and can we all see the communications that went on at that time? And so a freedom of information request went in. This, of course, is the SNP government, and it has a civil service that is effectively the administration arm of the SNP. We all know that in Scotland, the civil service exists purely to serve the SNP and the SNP's needs and desires. It is not an impartial service any longer. And so the SNP's administration wing, the civil service, declined to answer the freedom of information request and made some BS excuses that there wasn't the information and that even if there were the information, it would cost too much to get for the value of it, etc., etc. Which is clearly, as we'll see, a load of dingo's kidneys. Now, the person who requested this particular piece of FOI realised that, yes, maybe it was too big. And so he or she asked for a specific day worth of communications. And then the civil service came back once again denying it and saying, no, we can't give you that possibly because the cost is too high. And then he's queried it and he's gone back to the Information Commissioner, David Hamilton, and queried it and said, no, hold on a minute. How difficult can it be to get the emails from a single day and then just copy them, paste them and email them out? That surely can't cost more than the £600 allowance for a freedom of information request. Well, David Hamilton has concurred and agreed and has told them that they must release it, and they are still resistant. And so the SNP government have been told that unless it complies with these requests and releases everything regarding this as part of that official FOI request, all of Nicola Sturgeon's emails on the day that the Derek Mackay grooming scandal broke, then they will face court. And given the SNP's history of losing every single court case that they've ever had to go for, it doesn't look good for them. And then it'll cost even more money because they'll defend it, etc., etc., etc. And they don't need this in the middle, of course, of an election campaign. And so will they release it? Well, the chances are they probably won't. They'll probably try and fight it till after the election, simply because they don't want the information released before, because they know how damning it will be. And if they can hold off for any kind of court case till after the election, then it doesn't matter to them anyway. But it does. It's just this long-running history of secrecy that they have, that they refuse to release these things, because we know that Nicola Sturgeon was definitely in touch with everybody. There'll have been responses in, out, back, forth, everything going. And you need to know how much everybody knew about this before the story broke. And so you want to see the things relating to it weeks, months before, to see who knew what about what and who covered it up. And that's the heart of this story. Who covered this up? Why did they allow a man, if they knew that this was going on, why did they allow this man who was perpetrating unethical, immoral acts against somebody else's child to remain in office? Now, we know the SNP, we all know what the P stands for in SNP. He isn't the first, he isn't the last. One only has to look around the SNP to see lots of people who like touching up other people's children. There's a lot of them. We've covered them. Some are in jail, some have been fired, some have just resigned. Hey, Patrick. But it's not Harvey, of course, Patrick Grady, just to clarify. Patrick Harvey has never been caught touching anybody else's child yet. And so we have this situation where you have a party filled with people who like to touch other people's children, and even more, they like covering it up. They like hiding all the facts. It is disgraceful. But that day back on February the 5th, 2020, when it all blew up, when the texts were revealed, when this child was being massively abused, and no one is held accountable, no one is releasing this information, and they are doing absolutely everything to cover it up. First of all, saying they didn't have the information, which was a lie. So somebody needs to be fired for lying. Then saying they did have the information, but it would cost too much to reveal. Then admitting, no, they did have the information. It would be under the £600 limit, but they felt it would be wrong to reveal it at this time. What by at this time, they mean ever. And now they've got to, or they get taken to court for it. And they'll lose. What is wrong with these people? What is wrong? Apparently, there was something like 800 to 900 emails in a single day. So this was something they were deeply worried about. So it's no wonder they want it hidden, covered, not revealed, because things will be revealed in those emails that they know are so damaging to the SNP. And for that alone, this is... We need to see these. We absolutely need to see these things. And David Hamilton is right. He's got to push this. He's got to get this out. We don't care about the cost. I don't care if it costs more than £600. We'll have a whip round. If it costs more than £600, let's all have a whip round and pay whatever it costs to have them all revealed. Not just on that day, but all the days before and after. Everything that was said. There's probably WhatsApps as well, but you can guarantee they will have been deleted. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Do let me know what you think. Should they all be revealed? I know you're all going to say yes, because this is just disgusting. They are a disgusting, degenerate bunch of pervs, peds and predators. And they want to stay in power so they can continue with the touching up of other people's children. Disgusting shits, aren't they? Anyway, thanks very much for listening. Take care. Goodbye.